So big cause of suffering for almost everybody is an attachment to like a picture in our heads of how things should be, how people should be, how things should feel. And when reality is far away from the picture that you have in your head, you suffer, right? And so we do this all over the place. Maybe you have this idea like, oh, you know, I'm 30, I should be married with a baby. And can't even find somebody you want to go on a second date with. You know, now you're suffering, and your little sister just got married. Ugh, you know, really hard to deal with, right? You're a bridesmaid again. Difficult. So, or you're in a relationship and your partner is not behaving the way you think, you know, he or she should behave. This is not how it should feel, and you suffer. So a big part of the practice is opening to things as they are. You know, that's the first thing. Just, okay, how are things? Instead of like holding on to this picture I have, maybe you have an idea, oh, well, my son should be a doctor because his dad's a doctor and his grandfather's a doctor, and that's what people in our family do. But your son wants to be a chef, you know, and it's hard for you to let go. Just to step back and remind yourself that, you know, it's the less you try to control other people and outcomes, the less you suffer. The more you can open to things as they are, the more you can see people for who they are, and the more you become aware that you're even doing that. Because a lot of the time we don't realize, or we think, well, it's the cultural story. It's okay for me to have this picture in my head of being married with a baby at 30 because that's what I'm told from the time I'm 5 I should be able to do. To recognize that that's happening, and to remind yourself that there's no formula for this thing, you know. I was going to say this thing called life. There's no formula, you know. It's like everybody's different, and some of the most interesting people I know did not know what their calling was until they were like well into their 40s. You know, you don't always figure it out when you're in college. In fact, most people don't. So I think that's the first part, is that recognizing we have these attachments and trying to take a look and see, okay, where am I holding on that I might be able to let go a little bit and allow things or people or situations to unfold, you know, as they are. Letting go of your grip on the story, recognizing that really the only part of it that you get to control is what you do, you know, how you respond to what you're given. You don't get to control what life is going to put in your path. You don't get to control, you know, what your partner wants or needs or says or does, or your child or your best friend or your parent. That's not yours, you know. Yours is this part. And so understanding that, I think, is a huge liberation, and that is a big part of the practice.